Hey everybody, hope you're well. It's James here over at the Part-Time Entrepreneur, and today we're going to look at Stellar Lumens. Now, hopefully over the next 10 days or so, I'm going to be able to do a whole bunch of reviews because I'm off for Christmas holidays, which is nice. I know most people will be out doing Christmas shopping. I'll do it online or something, and I'll do more videos. So we're just going to have a look at this one today. Now, as always, I like to look at the facts first. So let's get stuck in. So the biggest thing with Stellar Lumens, the biggest thing is remittance. And what is remittance? That's where you've got people they're working in different countries and they're trying to send money back home. Now, if you look into some of the statistics behind this, just in America alone, $582 billion were sent by migrants back home to their relatives. So that is a massive amount of money. It actually equates to 3% of the population, which is the same as all of Brazil sending money to people around the world, which is pretty crazy when you look at it in those sort of statistics. And the other thing, when people are sending this money back home, they're getting absolutely hammered with charges. So if they go through their banks, it's about 13%, and through others, it's about 7 to 9%, and there is loads out there. Western Union, those types of things. So these guys, they're running a business, but it feels like they're taking advantage a little bit because those, they're crazy fees. So obviously they're making huge margins on this. Now, if you look at some of the remittance charges is on just $200, and you can see between, obviously, the numbers fluctuate massively. So between certain countries, depending where you are, these can be absolutely huge. I know we talked about some averages there, but in some other countries, it can be really crazy in terms of the percentage that people are taking. So there's also some websites that you can check out. So pewglobal.org, and you can actually see how much money is being sent and also sent back in through remittances. I picked the USA because it was just some crazy numbers. If I look at the UK, the top one isn't Mexico, but it's Nigeria. So some real interesting statistics. You can start looking at where the flow of money is going, what nations are where, and all the rest of it. So that hopefully just builds a picture of statistics of really what the issue is here. So the big thing is remittance, so people sending money back home, and they're getting hammered, and I mean hammered on fees. Which if you look at this in most situations, these guys that are coming over, they're probably working below what the national standard is by an incredible amount. They're earning small amounts of money. They're probably not living anywhere close to a decent standard. And then they're taking what they earn and sending it back home, which is very admirable. And then they're getting hammered for fees. So, I'm very much for equality. And, I think with cryptocurrency, as we all know, it's going to be a big transition of wealth, and also, but to make things a lot fairer, instead of the rich are getting richer, we actually spread the wealth across the world, and people start living, everyone can live a decent standard of life. So what is Stellar Lumens? Well, first of all, it's a non-profit organization, and when you hear the name Stellar Lumens, the project is stellar and the currency is lumens. So just in case you hear different connotations of this. And really what they're trying to do is facilitate this cross-border payments. Now, I've already looked at some of the statistics. We've seen some of the charges, which is crazy. And I think the biggest thing that cryptocurrency is really addressing is all of these middlemen and crazy like additional charges that people want to add on, where obviously they're making profit and stuff. But at the end of the day, people are just getting, I believe, when I look at some of these things, it's just they're getting taken advantage of because they've got no other facility or way to do it. Therefore, they can charge pretty much what they want. And I just love the fact that Stellar Lumens really just blows the lid off this, so people can send money across to their folks or their families and stuff and help them out without getting hammered for charges. So actually their money goes a little bit further. They can live a better standard of life, and this is what this is all about. I think the cryptocurrency space is really going to change people's lives, not just people in the UK where I am, but across, especially in sort of more the developing countries. And that's what I really love about this. The other thing is these guys have been going from 2014, so they're very established, and they've also got a working product. So you can go and you can download the wallets and bits and pieces right now. And again, it's in full flow. It's open source, as you probably expect, as they're a non-profit organization, but most companies are sort of doing that now, or most coins, sorry. And really it's about sharing and all the information and all these types of things. So I really like that. The other thing is they've implemented the 1% inflation every year. Now, some people might say that's bad, some people might say that's good. I think in this scenario, this is a good thing. And the reason for that is because it will do a couple of things. It, first of all, will create liquidity. It will also create stability in the price. So if you take something like Bitcoin is the classic. So if you hold Bitcoin, we know that there's another however many years before the 21 million is in full circulation. We know that there's some plunkers somewhere that have lost their laptops with hundreds of Bitcoins on. So there's probably the circulation is probably about 20 million. But the thing is, it's limited. And therefore, people don't really want to let go of it or spend it at the moment, because the price just keeps going up. And if we look at like $750 at the start of the year to the price as it is now, obviously we've had a little bit of pullback and all the rest of it, but it's still way in advance of what those prices were. And again, we're seeing like, a huge spike in the Stellar Lumens price. But I think what we'll see longer term is this inflation will flatten that curve out. And the other thing, there are some fees, but they're 0.001 of an XLM. It's absolutely nothing. I think it works out about 1,000th of a cent, which is, absolutely nothing. And the only reason that they really charge a fee is to stop spamming on the network, really. And it's all run by nodes. And there's, when you're changing your currency across, there's about 3 different ways where it'll just go sort of Lumen to Lumen, or Lumen to a currency, or it will figure out what different currencies. So it will go from Lumen to BTC, BTC to Ethereum, Ethereum to whatever it is, USD, or whatever people are trying to change it into. So there's lots of different ways in terms of when people are paying that it will translate the other end into whatever currency that they're trying to get it into. So if we look at the marketplace, so first of all, people are comparing this against Ripple. So for me, Ripple is really aimed at more the 5% rather than the 95%. So the 5% of obviously the top end bankers, high end businesses, those types of things, where Stellar Lumens is aimed at the 95%. The everyday, the yous and me's, and all the rest of it. The other one is mt.go. So mt.go is obviously, they've identified an opportunity where there's 2 billion people that don't have a bank account. So they're trying to create something for farmers in the back end of nowhere that they can have, some form of currency that they can swap between each other. So they can sell goods, do different things without necessarily having a bank account. Because again, like when I looked at some of the statistics of how many people don't actually have a bank account, I mean, it's crazy. I've got 2 banks, but that's just probably because of where I am, where I live, and all the rest of it. So sometimes it just opens your eyes to what else is going on in the world. And the other one that I sort of picked out, but it wasn't a direct competitor, was Monese. So Monese is trying to do that on the go, mobile sort of business banking, similar thing. Say, for instance, a migrant is self-employed, potentially they could use this, maybe a taxi driver or something like that, then they could use Monese as well. I've not heard anybody sort of really compare it with Monese, but when I've done my own research, it is one that I would tag on as a potential, not competitor, but within that arena in terms of what people could do with it. And the reason for that is very simply, sometimes we're in very early stages of cryptocurrency, and there's currency out there that have been launched, and it was like, here's our vision, here's what we're doing, and sometimes the usage or what happens with that currency might change. Very similar to Lucasade. When I was little, Lucasade was, if you were ill, your nan gave you Lucasade, like to give you that bit of a boost, get you going again, and all the rest of it. These days, it's the #1 performance drink. So very much started as one thing, ended up as another. Any of these companies could end up doing something like that. We just don't know. This technology is so new that I like to keep a real open mind about what potentials that stuff could do, and what it could do in the future as well, because that is huge. So then I had a look at the team, and I was quite impressed, to say the least. Obviously you got Jed. So obviously mt.gox, there's a huge thing about that, but obviously this guy sold it, and then the other guy sort of messed it up really. So, but the thing is, this guy for me shows he's got vision, because he's not just been there, he also was a co-founder at Ripple, hence why people are sort of comparing this very much against Ripple as well. And then obviously starting Stellar Lumens as well, being a co-founder there. I mean, to have that sort of vision and forefront, and also I think the reason probably why he left Ripple was because probably Ripple wanted to take it to the banks and that bigger sort of picture, where I think fundamentally his head was more, how can I help the world? And I really love that attitude. If anybody knows me, I do a lot of stuff and work with the homeless. I just don't think that we should be living in this day and age when people are going hungry, people don't have somewhere to live, all these type of things. It's just, we shouldn't be, not in this day and age anyway. We shouldn't be there, and we should do as much as we can to sort of help people. Obviously, you got Joyce Kim as well, capital venturist, entrepreneur. I mean, she comes across as very intelligent, graduate at the Harvard and Columbia Law School, very much got her head screwed on. Both of these guys, very impressed by their track record. And I think they've got an incredibly strong team put together here. So these guys have got some incredible partnerships in place, and obviously the most recent one being the IBM and ClickEX as well. So these are huge partnerships for these guys, and even some of the other ones that I really hadn't have heard about until quite recently was Stripe. Stripe's a sort of a worldwide payment method, and it wasn't until I started building my own website that I even knew about this. So obviously when I was going through, I recognized it straight away. I was like, these guys are pretty big. And obviously we got some, China, some facilities in Nigeria, like all over the world these guys are. So it's incredible to see these types of partnerships in place. So that really creates a strong foundation. Now we have seen some big price action quite recently, and that's primarily driven by the IBM deal, which has obviously taken the price up to 24 cents. It was knocking around sort of 3 or 4 cents. I know when I looked at some of the other videos that were knocking about that they were doing calls at 3 cents. Very good calls, by the way. And obviously we can see the price now is completely spiked. It's obviously going to correct at this moment in time. I'd have to do some more technical analysis to sort of figure out where I think that price would be. But obviously if you join my Facebook group, I give you details at the end. I'll let you know what my price prediction is on that. And as we can see here, that we have, there is a huge total supply, and we can see obviously the circulating supply at the moment, and obviously we've got this 1% that kicks in. And one of the things that really sticks out for me is the transaction speed as well. It's like 3 to 5 seconds, so it's very much an instant payment. We know it's low cost fees. I think long term this is going to do some really big things, and especially when it gets some huge mass adoption, it's going to take things like Western Union right out of the picture, because there'll just be no need for these like crazy fees that they're trying to charge. Or it will do the other thing, which will be it will drive them to drive down their fees to maintain business in that sense. Now the reason we've seen this sort of massive pump in price was obviously the IBM deal, which would have obviously created that price, but also the Palm Beach Confidential, which wasn't so confidential, obviously said they put a price of 24 cents on this. These guys have called quite a bit recently. It probably is one of the biggest pump and dump groups out there. So today's video is brought to you by Crypto Rookies, and they are pulling together the #1 online educational platform for anybody from newbie to more advanced people on cryptocurrency. Really exciting, going to be a huge platform. They're going to be giving away loads and loads of cryptocurrency, so they're going to be doing some really cool things. They're going to have some great people doing some live calls, and that opens on the 1st of January 2018, so keep an eye out for those guys. I also have a course if you are new, you want some trading tips, how to build a portfolio, lots of different things, then the link's at the bottom. And if you want my trade calls, you're going to have to join the PTE cryptocurrency community group, or you can follow me at jamesbull_UK at Twitter. And as always, if you like the videos, you find them informative, please leave some comments, please give it a like and share, and I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video today.